Have you been drawing for months and see no improvement? Today, I want to talk about improvement in art and why are you not improving and what to do to overcome these challenges and make sure that you have meaningful progress. My name is Khaled and I'm a self-taught artist learning the fundamentals of art, and I share my learnings, experiences, tips and tricks in this channel. How do we improve in art? And why is sometimes improvement feels so slow? I think one of the things that we always hear is that we just need to put in the time and we will eventually improve. Although there is a partial truth to this, it's not necessarily the case all the time. Just drawing using the same methods and habits that we've always have will not simply improve our art, but it will emphasize what we already know. It will develop a habit, and if the habit is wrong, then the drawing skills will not improve. I've heard this thing many times from a few different places. It says practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So you don't want a bad habit to become permanent, but what you want to know is learn how to study and what you need to study. I always try to just draw things. I thought that I can just draw whatever I like, and just draw the things that I'm comfortable with, and eventually I'll get good. I mean, this is good, and I think everyone should do this, but it's not enough to improve at art. I think drawing the things that we like and having fun is very important, but at the same time, we need to focus on studying in order to improve. So where do we start? I think the biggest thing is we need to start focusing on the fundamentals and practice the fundamentals using references. It might sound boring to some, especially at first, when you're learning the basics, but these small basic steps of learning the fundamentals are the most important steps to improve at art. I think the main things to learn, especially to begin with, is to learn form and how to create different shapes and forms on a 2D screen if you're doing digital, or paper if you're using traditional pencil. And then learn about perspective, then anatomy, which can also take a lot of time and practice. And then learn a little bit more about composition, and finally value and lighting. And I think one of the important things is to know that learning the fundamentals doesn't really stop at a certain point. I think you need to continually practice and learn and focus on the different things that you want to learn. I'm still actively learning the fundamentals, and I try to focus on different parts during different weeks. But the first two are very important before you jump into anything else. And by the first two, I mean learning the shapes and forms and perspective. The next important point that I want to talk about is the use of references. It's very important to use references, especially real life references, because it will give you the best idea on how things should look like. If anyone says don't use references is cheating, references are not good, you should try and draw from imagination, I think that is the worst advice. Are you supposed to draw something well if you don't know how they are supposed to look like exactly? And that is exactly why you should have the reference next to you when you're drawing it, so that you can see the shapes and the form. And as you do more and more drawings, your visual library will increase and you'll be able to do some more drawing from imagination. I know that a lot of us want to have a specific style or do stylization in our drawings, but it's important first to learn the rules and know how things are supposed to look like before we start stylizing and playing around with proportions or other things, so that we know how to bend them and we know how to change these rules and things. I think this next one is something that a lot of us are guilty of, is seeking shortcuts. If you're trying to find a shortcut to draw something, then you're not going to actually learn how to draw it. And you will only learn how to draw it in this one specific angle or view because the trick works in that way. This is something I've tried myself many times, find videos that show easy ways to draw something. But then as soon as you try and draw the same thing in a different angle, you struggle with it because you don't actually understand how it's supposed to do. You just know the shortcut or the trick. Another thing that's important is to try and seek constructive feedback. I think there are many ways to ask for feedback, but I think constructive feedback the word constructive is very important because it helps you improve. For example, in some of my older drawings, I used to draw the eyes very small, and I didn't even notice this until someone pointed it out and said, hey, by the way, the eyes look small in these drawings. So then it was something that I noticed right away once it was pointed out to me, and it was very clear to me. But when we're so focused on our own drawings, sometimes we miss these little details, and it just needs someone to point it out. And it may have taken me hours to figure out why this drawing looks off or weird, but as soon as someone else looks at it and points it out, then you know, oh, it has saved me so many hours, and now I know that this is one thing I need to work on. Something else that I've mentioned in one of my previous videos is it's important to draw a bit out of our comfort zone. If we draw only what we are comfortable with, then we will not learn anything new. I think the key is to introduce small challenges at a time so that we can learn new things all the time. And if the challenge is too big, we might get discouraged. So that's why I always suggest one small challenge at a time. And just remember to be patient and try to remember that progress in art is not linear, and we will have different stages, and we all learn at different times and different speeds. And make sure you rest so that you don't burn out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, you might also like my other video where I talk about why making bad art is important in becoming a good artist.